So I guess we now get on to the second part, which is what new things would we like to see? I guess definitely think I would like to see some new things in Unova because don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the overworld of Black and White, but if it's the exact same, I think it may get a little dull pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they could do something like Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, where there are additional islands for you to explore, or maybe they could take the Gold and Silver route of doing it, like, years in the future. Maybe not too much, like 2 or 3 years, just enough for areas to change or NPCs to change, etc.
And 2 or 3 years, maybe even your character's appearance. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Well, actually, that's another thing. They haven't announced whether or not it's going to be the same main character, or if it's going to be a new one. I'd be pretty surprised if they made it the same main character, because, well, to be honest, it's going to be kind of odd where, hello, I see you've thrown away your entire Pokemon team. Ed was right hard to rule, you bastard.
Yeah, that would be mildly awkward.
Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they had a new protagonist, although it would be a big change up into the series if they kept the same one. And I guess, in terms of story, I'm not really sure which direction it's going to go in, or even what direction it should go in. I'm not sure if you have any ideas, Sven, or...
Well, actually, that's the thing. Because what I noticed with the game is that there's an entire second half which really has absolutely no story or whatsoever in it. You know, after you... anyone who's played the game will know this. After you defeat Getsis and basically beat the first half, there's a second half of the game with an entire second half of the continent to explore, but no story until you reach the end. You know, the champion. Yeah. So,
yeah,
I can't help but think they could fill that in somehow, and given the fact that they had Getsis escape prison at the end of the game, I'm seeing an opportunity.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We don't know much about it. We don't know if it's going to be an actual direct sequel that continues the story, maybe having Getsis, you know, forming a new team of criminals, or whether it's just going to be a retread but with modified features like Platinum, Emerald, and Crystal before it. But
whenever they put Black 2 and White 2, one can't help but think that they're going to continue the story somehow. And they've made themselves a gigantic opening.
That is true. He escaped, and to be honest, a lot of Team Plasma were still out in the fields. I mean, there was the whole vague Sage side quest. That was supposed to be the main story throughout the second half, I think. But even so, yeah, I do agree with you. A bit more could have been done with it, that.
Yeah, and even in the Sage side quest, they kind of hinted at a sequel, because one of the Sages kind of foreshadowed Aang's return.
Yeah. I mean, whether or not Aang has good character development after that kind of instance in the end, yeah, we're kind of giving away spoilers. Sorry about that.
Anyone who's interested in our Black and White theories has probably already played through the game all the way.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not a very long game.
Yeah, I suppose that's true as well. That's kind of another feature of adding to the list, like something to do after you beat the Elite Four, because, to be honest, I don't even mind if it's not to the extent of Pokemon Gold, even if it's just something like in Fire Red and Leaf Green, where you'd have this, like, very basic quest across the islands. That would be fine with me, but...
Yeah, just something. And since Game Freak have already hinted that, well, dropped extremely heavy hints that there might, in fact, be a sequel, otherwise they would not let their big bad escape prison, I'm kind of expecting something a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. One other thing that people have also latched on, and the one thing we do know, is that they have shown 2 pictures, which are basically Raysham and Zekrom, 2 fuse forms with, oh god, what was the other Pokemon's name? Kyurem or something like that?
Yeah, Kyurem.
Yeah, I don't think I've encountered that. I don't know if it was one of the special release these Pokemon. I forgot to check that.
I don't know if it is or not.
Yeah, basically it's another fused form, and surprise, surprise, most reaction on Pokemon forums has been, oh my god, these designs are hideous, this means it's the downfall of Pokemon, etc., etc., etc. Oh.
Yeah, those people who make you want to go into the Fist of the North Star universe, take out Kenshiro, and then just have him ta them to death.
Yeah, okay, I'll be honest, I'm getting sick of the whole, oh my god, the designs are so bad argument, because there have been bad designs in every single generation. In fact, my favourite summarization of this was it actually came from a completely random abridged series. I think it was a Sergeant Frog abridged series, but there was basically a comment where someone was going, look, they found a seal. Yes, it's a seal named Seal. Why can't the other generations have such unique and creative designs?
Yes, and while I'll admit that some of the Pokemon designs were a bit questionable, I'm looking at the sentient garbage bag and Scraggy.
Everyone always brings up those examples, but I can instantly counter that with anything from the first generation. You have a sentient mass of vines with boots and Dunsparce.
That's from the second generation, you idiot!
And Licky Tongue.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, but while I'll admit that some of them, like those, are kind of questionable, and some of the names are too, like seriously, Conkeldurr. It's getting a bit ridiculous.
Actually, speaking of which, I don't think there'll be any new Pokemon save for those fused forms, but you never know, we may get some legendary, or maybe have one of the old legendaries from the previous game come back, who knows.
Actually, that would be interesting relative to the whole story idea too, because also remember, at the end of the first Black and White games, Ghetsis as the Shadow Trio give you the artifacts to summon Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina.
Ah, that is actually pretty interesting.
Which brings a question to mind, how the bloody hell did he get them?
Yeah, that is pretty terrifying. And I actually completely forgot about that. It's been so long since I played the game. And actually, that actually brings me on to another thing, which I'll be very interested in a sequel. Actually getting to fight the Shadow Triad.
Oh yeah, I would like that. And somehow, because they're a triad, you just know that it's going to be a triple battle.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really cool, because honestly, that was one of the small nitpicks I had of it. It's like, wait a minute, you have these three dragons who serve Get-This Hand and Whim, and you don't get to fight them or even find out who they are? Really?
Yeah, so they've left so many openings for a sequel. I will be very disappointed if they don't continue the story.
Oh yeah, definitely. I guess we'll have to wait for more information.
Yeah, and to be honest, I would not be at all displeased with the sequel, because for one, A, it's a totally merited sequel, and B, it'll be designed by the same people who made the story of Black and White, which I think we can all agree was the greatest story in the entire series.
Indeed. Alright, that's the end of the Q&A for this month, and now it's time to move on to...
Video games!
No, this is incredibly simple. This is where we review the video games we've been playing this past month. Or at the very least, the video games Sven's been playing for a while.
Yeah, playing for a while and playing religiously. Yeah, long story short, people, for those of you who keep up with gaming news, you will probably already know what game this is. Mass Effect 3.
I thought you were going to say Street Fighter X Tekken.
Well, everyone knows me. They know I'm a Mass Effect nerd.
I know, just wind you up. Anyway. Now, I've played Mass Effect 1, but I've yet to get around to playing Mass Effect 2, so I guess my first question on Mass Effect 3 would be, do you have to play 2 in order to understand what the hell's going on? Or...
I would highly recommend it. Not that you would probably be able to play it on your pokey-slow computer, because we've already been over the graphics breaking in 1.
Are you saying that my computer, which couldn't render a lava field, cannot handle Mass Effect 3?
To be perfectly honest, I doubt your computer could handle a game that was made a year after Mass Effect 1. No offense.
But yeah, it's tied to the story, basically.
Yeah, very, very deeply. In fact, one of the main villains first appeared in Mass Effect 2. So you would have no pretext or context as to why he was a villain, or why he existed.
Okay, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Let's see, I take it the whole Paragon Renegade system's still the same, though.
Yes, although in this game it kind of all has the same end again, rather than in Mass Effect 2, wherein Shepard kind of seemed like he was being an asshole for the sake of it. In this, it all has the same end of getting all the reinforcements you can. It just takes a whole different route to doing it.
I see.
Because, long story short, and everyone who is interested in Mass Effect already knows this because it was in the trailers. Long story short, Reapers, they've arrived.
Oh boy. Yeah, but those of you who don't know, Reapers are kind of the galaxy-destroying creation.
Yeah, they're basically doomsday machines.
Yikes. Okay.
And you have to fight, upwards of 1,000 of them over every system in the galaxy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a bleak game, even though it's still fun. Kind of, bleak.
Yeah, hopefully it gets a little bit more upbeat from there.
Well, I think the uplifting part is, just looking at TV tropes, it has just the same amount, if not more, crowning moments of funny than either of the other two games.
Huzzah! That's always good. Speaking of the other two games, did you carry on your Shepard for the other two Mass Effects, or did you try creating a new one this time?
Naturally, I carried on, because I've already put too much effort into these characters I've made to just let them stew.
Yeah,
Although that was kind of defused by the fact that BioWare forgot to fix an opening glitch that made it impossible to carry your character's face over.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to rebuild my character's face from scratch. Thank you, BioWare. Please fix this.
Aww.
It would not be the first time Shepard's face had to be reconstructed. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, moving away from the spoiler side of things, how's the combat? Is it the same as always, or?
Well, pretty much. It's the same as Mass Effect 2 in that you have magazines instead of overheating weapons, which is... it's simpler. But they've added a whole new combat mechanic. Your Omni tool can be turned into a lightsaber, essentially.
Okay.
So now your melee attacks look cooler.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And that's not the best part. The Vanguard, the class that got so ridiculously borked and overpowered in Mass Effect 2, is even more overpowered now. And you know why? 2 words. 2 lightsabers.
Oh dear. Now, just to double check, is Vanguard the psychic and soldier one?
Yeah, it's the psychic soldier. Basically, in the first one, they were just plain, bland biotics with shotguns. In Mass Effect 2, they got charge on par with Krogan, and in this, they can combine that with 2 lightsabers.
Okay, that's pretty awesome because the character I played through the game the first time with was a Vanguard, so that's going to be a major...
Wow, just think, if you could get your computer upgraded enough to play the game, you will probably have more fun than most.
Yeah.